Let's say 2 years from now, instead of 100 people, there are only 15 desiring to walk across this line to enter the United States illegally. At that point, this border will be under control. Right now, it's still a very wide open, uncontrollable border.
Hello, Rob Nelson is off this week. I'm Meredith Lewis with the Christian Science Monitor. Controlling the entry of illegal aliens has become a top priority of the U.S. government. This week, we examine the law that is designed to check the flow. We also look at how America continues to adjust to the expansion of ethnic communities. In Miami, where Hispanic immigrants have transformed the city's culture and economy, and in Los Angeles, where the huge influx of Asian immigrants has led to racial tensions. We visit one community where programs to combat racism have been highly successful. But first, a report from the U.S.-Mexico border, where the problem of illegal migration is so severe that it led to the passage of landmark legislation last October, the Immigration Reform and Control Act. It is supposed to reduce the flow of illegals by penalizing those who employ them.
This bill is the most comprehensive reform of our immigration laws since 1952.
Many of those affected by the law are confused about its requirements, and so far its passage has done little to stem the tide of migrants in search of jobs here. James Nelson Goodsell reports.
The crowd gathering on the hillside is Mexican. The city in the background is Tijuana, but the hillside is in San Diego, California. For an hour prior to sunset, U.S. Border Patrolman David Estevez watches helplessly as the Mexicans, already illegal aliens, warm themselves around fires, eat their dinners, and make plans to elude him and his colleagues.
All we can do is just put a dent in the flow. There's no way of really stopping them completely. The penalty's too slim. Slap on the wrist, and they're back out doing it again.
If this group seems less than terrified, it's because they have little to lose. For them, the 8-month-old immigration law has had no effect. When apprehended, they are detained for a few hours and sent back across the border.
And that's it. The bus drops them off. They'll get something to eat, maybe rest a couple of hours, and they'll cross back again. We have one little guy we call Louis. I've personally caught that guy at least 30 times.
30 times?
30 times. And agents, everybody knows him at the station. It's just crazy.
To contain this craziness, the Border Patrol utilizes an array of technology. Impulses from electronic sensors are received at a communications center. The positions of aliens are then dispatched to units in the field.
The group is up to about 30 now. It's real close to the San Ysidro trolley.
Pretty good sized group just south of your 20 North Levy. I'm going to go ahead and lay in and wait for him to move north.
10-4.
This heat-sensitive night vision device, called the scope, is used to track the movement of illegals.
If there's a unit available to get up on Leon, there's a group of about 8 or 10 going through the baseball diamonds down below, heading north.
Although there are never more than 40 officers patrolling this 5.5-mile stretch of San Diego border, the patrol in this region apprehended an astounding 630,000 illegal aliens in '86. Given the odds, an impressive figure, but still only a fraction of the estimated 3 million people who crossed illegally through the San Diego area alone. Despite the new immigration law's threat of stiff fines and jail sentences to employers who hire illegal aliens, the flow continues. Here in El Paso, the illegal alien traffic begins when the sun comes up. Most are simply commuters, crossing the Rio Grande daily. These commuters are resourceful. Over the years, they've developed numerous ways of bridging this river which separates Texas and Mexico.
The draw is the American dollar, the American job. They're not here as tourists, they're coming for the job. The employer sanctions, along with increased Border Patrol enforcement of the laws, immigration laws and so on, that's what's going to keep them back.
So far, employer sanctions have not been enforced. All along this 2,000-mile border, aliens appear undaunted by the new immigration law. Without employer sanctions, the law is little more than a paper tiger. Just why Congress and the Immigration and Naturalization Service continue to postpone the sanctions is not clear. What is clear is that with many, the law is unpopular. The fruit-growing valleys of central Washington depend on an illegal alien workforce. Here, resistance to employer sanctions is heard loud and clear. During last month's cherry harvest, producers complained of labor shortages, and farm owners say this is just the beginning.
All the farm workers were drawn into the cherry harvest at the expense of apple thinning, hop growing, asparagus cutting, and so there's an overall shortage, and we expect by the time pear and apple harvest start that we'll have about half enough people in the Northwest to pick the crop.
Senator Alan Simpson, architect of immigration reform, is not sympathetic.
If we're in a situation where if we don't have illegal people to do our work, we'll go broke. Let's examine that right now, because we fought a war over that one about 120 years ago. That's called slavery.
In reality, aliens aren't slaves, but they will do menial work for low wages. Workers can earn more in an hour in the U.S. than they can in days in Mexico. And that's exactly what has attracted millions to the U.S. over the years. Illegals who have resided in the U.S. since 1982 are eligible for the other key element of the immigration reform law, the amnesty program. When INS officials talk about acceptance of the amnesty program, they point to this. It is 6 a.m. at the Dallas Regional Processing Center. People are lining up. Some have been here for hours waiting for the doors to open. Once inside, the alien pays a $185 fee, then presents documents to verify he or she has resided in the U.S. for the last 5 years. An estimated 4 million illegal aliens could qualify as resident aliens, a status allowing them to work legally in the U.S. But the original intent of the Immigration Reform and Control Act was not to accommodate illegal aliens, but to control them.
Let's say 2 years from now, instead of 100 people, there are only 15 desiring to walk across this line to enter the United States illegally. At that point, this border will be under control. Right now, it's still a very wide open, uncontrollable border.
One immigration official summed it up this way: as long as the illegals know that only a thin line of green uniforms stand between them and economic opportunity, there will be no way to halt the flow of those seeking opportunity. Without employer prosecution, there will be no deterrent. Reporting from the U.S.-Mexican border, I'm James Nelson Goodsell.
The Border Patrol at San Diego reports illegal alien apprehensions there in June were the second highest in history for that month.
For a printed copy of today's program, send $2 to Monitor Reports, 2 John Street, New York, New York, 10038.